Hello listeners and welcome to the third edition of The Tonight Show with me, Edward Aloysius Renner. This show brings you live radio interviews with newsmakers and personalities making news headlines in Sierra Leone. You can be heard on the show by sending your comments or questions to www.facebook.com/thetonightshow.slbc or www.twitter.com/EdwardArenner, or you can send a text message to 078 546 474. If you don't have the internet, you can still send your messages or your comments to 078 54 64 74. Coming up in tonight's show, the ACE project, the African Coast to Europe Submarine Communications Cable, is a cable system undergoing construction along the west coast of Africa between France and South Africa, planned by the ACE Consortium, which was initiated in June 2010. In its planning configuration, the 17,000 kilometer long fiber optic cable should have been operational in the first half of 2012. It should have connected 23 countries, either directly for coastal countries or indirectly through terrestrial links for landlocked countries. The government of Sierra Leone, through the Ministry of Information and Communication, officially launched the fiber optic cable project in October 2011 in Freetown. But the major concern of the average Sierra Leonean is whether or not fiber is a fairy tale or a mere waste of $25 million by the government. To answer the question and many others on freedom of information, my guest for tonight's show is the man who speaks on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, Alhaji Ibrahim Ben Kagbo. Good evening.
Good evening, Reno. Thank you for having me this evening.
Alhaji Ibrahim Ben Kagbo, commonly known as IB Kagbo, is a Sierra Leonean journalist and politician. He is currently the Sierra Leone government's official spokesman and Sierra Leone's Ministry of Information and Communication since October 2007 in the government of Ernest Bai Koroma. IB Kagbo is the owner of one of Sierra Leone's most read newspaper, The New Citizen. Until his appointment as minister, he was a regular columnist in his own newspaper. As a journalist, he publicly opposed the Public Order Act of 1965. Welcome to the Tonight Show once more with me, and my studio guest is the Minister of Information. We'll be right back.
Hey there! Wake up to a new development on SLBC on FM 99.9. It's the Tonight Show. Here, you get the chance to listen to interviews with newsmakers and personalities across the nation. The program goes beyond stories making the headlines. It's frank, honest, upfront, and exclusive. Only on SLBC.
Join Edward Aloysius Renner every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday for the Tonight Show on SLBC at 8:15 p.m. Don't miss out, as your comments through SMS, Twitter, and Facebook will be aired. SLBC takes you further and you stay close.
It's your voice, my voice.
Well, like I mentioned, with me in the studio is the Minister of Information and Communication. Well, to get the ball rolling, good evening once more, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Now, Alhaji, you and your government sang songs of praises and rejoiced almost a year ago when you landed the African Coast to Europe Submarine Communications Cable. Am I right?
Yes, you are quite right, and we had good reason to celebrate because that was the very first time this part of West Africa was landing the submarine fiber. Yes, we had good reason to celebrate at the time we did.
Now, do you think the ACE project at the moment is one people should refer to as fairy tale?
No, it cannot be a fairy tale. Let me say one thing that is very clear, that the World Bank has assessed Sierra Leone very closely and other West African countries benefiting from the ACE project, and we have been graded 80%. In other words, we have performed far better than some of our neighbors along the West Coast. But that is not enough. What we also want the public to understand is that the ACE project itself, that is a submarine project that has brought the fiber from France to West Africa, is an indication that we want to improve the telecommunication sector in this part of the world. Of course, Rena, there is a saying that those countries which have developed telecommunications are also the countries that are the most developed in the world. And for us to be able to catch up with these countries, we should be able to develop the telecommunication sector. And one way by which we can do so cheaply is to bring the submarine fiber to this country. So to respond to your question, it's not a fairy tale at all. What we have done is that we have landed the fiber itself.
Now, Alaji, in about 8 months ago, you said on this medium that the ACE project is on course and it will soon be operational. Many of those who listen to you then will have the thought that referring to soon would have been 6 months or a little earlier than that, but they're still in doubt. So what's your comment?
Well, there is a timetable, my dear Edward. This next stage after landing the submarine fiber was to build the landing station itself. We have just completed the landing station. We have installed the telecommunications equipment inside the landing station. And now what we are going to do is to connect the landing station to a terrestrial component that will take the facility to the rest of the country. So may I state here that we have 3 phases all in all. The first phase would be to bring the submarine fiber itself, submarine, that is to say under the water, from Europe to here. And then, of course, the next was to build the landing station that would be the centerpiece of handling all those things that have to do with the submarine fiber. And it is also the connecting point once we begin to lay the terrestrial system. Now, the terrestrial system is in 2 phases. One, we are going to construct the optical backbone, and this has been as a result of a loan from the Chinese government.
Okay.
And we are going to use that facility to connect the whole country to the landing station.
Okay.
Then, apart from that, we also have the ECO1 project. Again, that is the initiative of the heads of state of West Africa to connect the landing station to our neighboring countries. So the ECO1 project, which is going to connect the landing station to Liberia, and then the same landing station will connect Sierra Leone to Guinea, is already, the survey work has almost been completed.
Okay.
So we are talking about 3 phases here. One of them totally complete, that is the landing of the submarine fiber and the building of the landing station. But of course, we are now trying to build the terrestrial system that is to link Sierra Leone and Liberia, and Sierra Leone and Guinea as well.
Now, largely about 8 months ago, to many people, fiber was there. We were about to start enjoying a broadband connection, but no, it's not happening right now.
No, fiber was here, but fiber has to be connected to a system, and that is what we're going to do. Now, we have quite a number of ways of doing it, but the cheapest way of doing it would be to use the terrestrial system of fiber to connect to other parts of the country. May I state here that we have been rated as one of the fastest growing executors of this project, and we are very satisfied about that. But once we have built the backbone, once we have linked the terrestrial system to Liberia and Guinea, then of course we would have taken the facility to many parts of the country. Mark you, this is a very important component that will also introduce quite a number of other important aspects of national development. That is the E-series of activities. Once we have built the terrestrial backbone, and I've just said the survey work has been completed, the contractors are here, we are going to have what we call generally the e-government system. We should be able to link office to office, ministry to ministry. We should be able to take education, telecommunications to the schools, to the universities. We should be able to take connectivity and improve on tele-density right across the country.
Now, largely going back to the ACE project itself, now it's in its planned configuration, the 17,000 kilometer long fiber optic cable should have been in operation in the first half of 2012. Why has it taken so long? That's according to the ACE themselves.
Well,
they should have been in operation
that
in the
is
early
a question
of 2012.
That's a question for ACE, because ACE itself is taking the facility right across to Cape Town in South Africa, and they are far away from getting to South Africa. But once they get to South Africa, and once we ignite the system, Sierra Leone will not be left behind. We too would have been ignited. So we have this very clearly. It is so interesting to say that the ACE project is here, but we are also linked and hooked onto other countries as well.
Okay.
In fact, some countries are so far behind Sierra Leone that we are now trying to change the direction of our system so that we can not lag behind like themselves.
But you recall that the fiber optic cable landed in October 2011, and since then it has not become operational, like you've just mentioned yourself. But many people believe that the information on those has not been disseminated such that they will have understood then why it is still not in working condition.
Well, the PIU has made it very clear that we have a timetable here, and they have convened quite a number of conferences. They have taken journalists and other people to the landing station, that's a state-of-the-art landing station, and all of us will be proud of it. And we want to make it very, very clear that the timetable is very clear.